Howdy, my name's Alex Chin, and this is one of my interviews for my CRE number 4. I'm interviewing one of my friends from my hometown, Noella Barron. So the first question, can you describe and discuss how you perform your gender through your actions slash fashion slash language?
I don't feel like I think about it that much, but I mean, I guess I like dress in a very like female presenting way. I don't know. I mean, I don't wear dresses like all that often, but like when I dress up, I definitely do tend to dress like more feminine if I'm like dressing up. I also don't wear that much makeup. Like the only makeup I wear like day to day is like mascara, and that I feel like is not the norm.
Hmm.
Um, but like I just don't really care. Which is always I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like in some ways that's like me just being lazy. And then like when I feel like it and I want to get like dressed up, I'll do like full face makeup, whatever. So I feel like that's one way that I like kind of don't always conform, but I'm still doing something.
Hmm.
So and like there's also like in the back of my mind like, oh, should I be doing more because so many other people do, so many other girls do. Um, my actions, I don't know. Well, actually, okay. I do feel like when I'm in spaces where like there are a lot of guys and it like feels very male dominated, like if it's a class or um just like even like band, like there's a lot of guys in band, and if I'm in a space where I feel like they know more than me or they should know more than me or like I don't really feel comfortable or just like don't fully know what I'm doing, I do feel like I tend to like play down like the things that I do know, and there's a lot more like hedging on my part of like, oh, like does that make sense, or like I don't know, and there's a lot of like I will defer more because that feels like the thing that I should be doing when like that's not really the case.
Got it.
If that
Um, so you would say that's kind of also how you would challenge traditional presentation of gender through your actions, kind of like, or fashion too, like you said, not always wearing a full face of makeup, but also doing it sometimes. And
Yeah, yes. And I feel like I mean, yeah, I would say yes. I don't feel like I challenge a lot through my actions. I don't know. I don't think about it that much, but I don't feel like there's a lot of things that I do action wise. Um, I don't know. I just feel like I am who I am and I do what I do. I definitely feel like there's more that I do kind of in like how I dress and how I look that
hmm.
is like I don't feel like I don't know what the right word to use here is. Like I feel like I present in a very like female way. I mean, like look at all the jewelry I'm wearing. Like I wear jewelry all the time, like those kinds of things. But I don't do a full face makeup every day. I'm not wearing a dress every day. And there are like I see a lot of other girls on campus who will wear dresses like most days, and that's just like not something that I like to do or feel comfortable doing. I'm way more comfortable in jeans and sweater. Um, but like that sweater is going to be more feminine, you know? So like
Hmm.
there's still like an element of it there, but I do feel like that's a way that I'm not like as overtly feminine presenting. Um, but yeah, I don't really feel like there's a lot I do through my actions unless I'm in a space where I already feel more comfortable and more established and I feel like I know my role and I know all the pieces that I need to know to be able to kind of like I'll speak up more in classes if it's like maybe if it's a female professor or if it's mostly like let's say the class is 60-40 or like 80-20 split girls to guys, I will probably speak more than if it's like a pretty male dominated class like some of my heavier science classes. And like you could definitely say, this is going back to your first question, sorry, but like
You're good.
I mean I'm very much in the like social sciences side of things, which is pretty female dominated,
Hmm.
like in terms of like my major and what I'm studying and what I want to do. um so I do feel like there's a lot of ways like I don't feel like I'm leaning into it because it's just like what I like and what I'm passionate about, but
Hmm.
I like when you look at it's very like kind of stereotypical in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, it's just what motivates you to perform that way is it's just you being you, right? It's nothing like you're not consciously really thinking about it. You're just kind of doing you.
Most of the time, yes. For like the big things, yes. Like my major, like I like psychology, and that's super interesting to me. It's really fascinating to me. I love it. I love the research side of it, which sometimes can be a little more technical. But when I'm in spaces, there are other things that it's like sometimes I'm not always aware that I'm doing it, but if I like zoom out a little bit, I'm like, no, like I am setting myself up to be like, oh, I don't like I'm not the expert here, and I do it because it feels easier to do that, to just like appease the guys in the room. Like if I'm in like it tends to happen more in like math classes or more science heavy classes when there are like there just tend to be more guys, and I will, you know, like not answer questions as frequently, or like if I'm in a conversation with them, I will often be like, oh, well, like, I don't know. I should just like defer to this person. I should just like, you know, they probably know more than me. And I will also like kind of self-deprecate a lot more. This also like, and this has happened like for a long time. I take fewer math classes now because of my major, but like in high school, like this happened more when it was like, oh, they probably know more than me. They're probably smarter than me at this. Like, boys are smarter at math, whatever, which is like not true. But that is kind of like the stereotype. And I definitely feel like it's something that underlies a lot of like the things that I do. And like when I'm working with guys, like I'm a section leader with another guy, and I often feel like I have to defer to him. Like his personality is very big, and I feel like I need to be secondary. We have the same title. Our jobs are the same. Our responsibilities are the same. And I still feel like that. So like, yes and no. Like some of the motivation is like, oh, you know, like I'm lazy. I don't want to do my makeup every day. So I just do mascara because I like that. Like, I feel like that is enough for me and it makes me feel better. But like, I now feel like I have to do that every day. I didn't used to feel that way. And when I go out, I do feel like I need to wear more makeup. I am a lot more conscious about how I dress now, like as I've gotten older. Like I still feel like I dress nicer now than like I ever really did in high school. Or like before that. So I do feel like some of these motivations are like, I need to keep up appearances in front of people. And I don't think that all of that is like for the male gaze per se, but like just the idea that like I need to be more presentable, and the idea that I need to put out more of a front, and like to have people respect me and think well enough of me. I guess.
No, that's fair. Now that you've kind of gotten older and seen more of, we call it the water, but it's like you like see more of kind of what happens through society between gender roles and things like that. Is like, do you think you'll ever change how you dress or act in any way, or do you it's still just kind of like going through life, kind of testing it, seeing how it goes, feeling it out?
Yeah, I feel like that's hard because I actually feel like as I've gotten older, I feel like I need to conform more to it. Because, you know, like when you're younger, like you don't really care about any of like the expectations or whatever, or you're not aware of them. And as I've gotten more aware of them, I feel like I have felt a need to conform to them more, even though I know that like in a lot of ways it's not really always healthy and kind of can become like toxic seems like a very extreme word, but in some senses toxic. I don't know. So I feel like I have felt like as I've gotten older, I've started to conform more. Like I've started to dress nicer. I've started to be more like thoughtful about my appearance. And some of that is like I've just gotten more interested in like, oh, I like how I feel when I like dress nicer. Some of that, like, there's an element to that, though, that is, like, not about me. It's about how other people perceive me. I definitely feel like I want to be better about how I show up in spaces. I don't want to be the kind of person that, like, is afraid to take up space and is afraid to, like, use my voice to say, like, whatever it is, even if it's, like, small thing. But I do feel like I still feel the energy in a lot of places where, like, I don't feel super comfortable doing that. And some of that I think stems from a lot of the stereotypes. And I mean, like, as I've gotten older and like other worse things start happening, like kind of more outside of this conversation, but like, I mean, things get scarier the older you get, because the kind of things that happen and the kind of things that happen to your friends and the kind of things that you just like hear about in the news or on social media, like get scary. And like, I do definitely feel like I remember the first time I got catcalled, it was my friend's birthday. We were all like dressed up. We had gone out to dinner. And I remember it feeling very like weird because I was like, oh, this is like a rite of passage. It's like a thing that like I've been waiting, kind of like expecting it to happen. And it was so gross and so disgusting. And I was like, what's going on? So like those kinds of things, and I've become more aware of those kinds of things and like the really, really like overtly negative parts of all of this. I feel like that has made me want to just kind of just be how I want to be and like demand that other people don't react that way.
Yeah.
Whether I'm actually living into that is another question, but I definitely feel like it's something that I think about.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.